Hi there, this is Mirza TV and it's the tactical analysis for Arsenal. Let's go. So before I start this video, I just have to mention that every image used in this video is used for educational purposes and not to infringe copyright. Also, take everything I say with a grain of salt. Everything I do say has a point to it. I've proved everything that I've said with an image, but it's still just my opinion and it's still just what I saw, so it's not a fact. But as always, people, enjoy. So since we were playing at home, I'm going to start with the visitors, which in this case is Arsenal, and on paper they played a 4-2-3-1. However, as we'll be seeing later on, they actually played a lot different than a 4-2-3-1, but like I said, we'll go through that in a minute. Now looking at how we played, we actually played a 4-2-3-1 that was very attacking in every sense of the imagination. Thiago was playing essentially as a box-to-box midfielder going forward and backwards, and Alaba was essentially playing as a second winger. The same for Lam, and Muller obviously was playing as a essentially second striker. Juego de posición. Now looking at how Arsenal's defending is probably the best way to start this video. So looking at the pictures and looking at the overall match, Arsenal were defending as a 4-4-2, which is pretty clear to see. Trying to press either Alonso and Thiago with minimal success. But that is the way they set up today, and that is the way they try to get the ball, try to win the ball, and try to counter. Now this is a stark contrast to the match in London, where Arsenal were defending man-to-man and not defending spaces. So besides Arsenal's defending, what else was different? Well, very easy. The first thing was that Alaba was playing as a left back and not as a centre back, which allowed him freedom to go forward, which is essentially his best strength, his biggest strength going forward, as he not just is lethal in attack, which we obviously see later on with the third goal, but he's able to help our wingers so much more than Bernat ever could. And a second thing that really made this game different than the one we played in London was the addition of Coman instead of Vidal. Now, Coman being on, him being a natural winger means that he will hog the touchline. He will open up Arsenal's back four. He will have them spread out, which is why we had so many good chances, not just because Arsenal were defending pretty poorly, but also because we had two wingers that would spread both defenders out so that we could have a lot of space through the middle, which is what Lewandowski and Muller thrive on. And that is exactly what happened in this match a lot all the time. Now let's have a look at why Alaba was so key. His position up the field was one of the best. It is one of the best that you'll ever see. He'll either stay in midfield if there is no one in midfield to receive a pass, or he goes to the wings to support the wingers if they want to come inside, or if they want to give him the ball while he's doing his run so that he can cross it. He is always willing to run, always willing to help, and that is exactly the kind of left back that makes him that's exactly the kind of reason that makes him the best left back in the world. Now, why was playing Costa and Coman so important, and why was that so essential to us winning? Well, the reason for that is actually quite simple. If you go back to my previous video in the Arsenal away match, I mentioned that we had Muller and Thiago switching on the flanks, and basically they were playing very narrow, so we really didn't have much space to move, we didn't have much space to run, we didn't have much space to create space for our players, and essentially that is what was essentially what was changed today with us playing Coman and Costa, who both hug the touchline. We had the space to pass the ball to them via Alonso, via Thiago, via Boateng, so that they can then make space for themselves. They can then, drag the defender wide, so that they can then pass the ball to the middle to Thiago or someone that was in the middle, and those players could then go and create chances as well as score. Which is what you see when you look at our first goal, where essentially Coman was hugging touchline, gets the ball, pass it back to Thiago, and Thiago finds Lewandowski. You look at our fourth goal, the same with Robin this time. Alonso with a long ball to, I believe it's Costa then with a through ball to Alaba, and Alaba with a simple cross to Robin. So that was essentially what was so important today, that we really created a big massive space between their right, their left, and their centre backs. Thiago was also very, very good in this match. He knew when to attack and he knew when to defend. He was basically dragging our attack forward when he felt that we needed to attack, and he was dragging everyone back when we had to defend, which made him man of the match, in my opinion. Now, although I'm showing you a few examples of Thiago's position while he was defending, attacking wise, he was just magnificent. I'm going to show you a few chances that he created, and then I'm going to go straight to the goals and I'll wrap it up. Now, looking at the first goal, it is basically exactly what I mentioned before, where I said that Coleman was so important as he held the width, and in this case Thiago passes the ball to Coleman, and that meant that the right back had to spread out to get to Coleman as soon as possible, who then passes it simply back to Thiago, and then Thiago with a ball through the middle, and you already have disorientated defence at that point. But Gabriel also decides to play the offside trap, which is ineffective in that particular instance. Now, looking at the second goal, there are two ways to describe it. The first way is to say it's a clear counter, and the second way is to say that it reminds me of 2012-2013, where we had a lot of overlapping runs by Lam, who would then cross the ball into the middle to try and get Müller, and in that case Mandzukic involved. In this case it was Müller, Lewandowski and Coman, and Müller, he gets the lucky ball and he scores from it. But it's very reminiscent of the 4-2-3-1 that we played in 2012-2013, which was nice to see. Now you look at the third goal, and by that point Arsenal have given up. You can tell by the players, by the way they're behaving, by the way they're moving, and essentially that is what made us get the goal. That is what made Alaba have the time to shoot. Now the defense from Arsenal, they were actually still trying. We're just, I'll give them credit for that. Whereas all the front players, they saw us get the ball and they were just like, who cares? So when I say the front players, I'm talking about Giroud, Alexis Sanchez, Mesut, and Campbell. They were literally just watching us, and that is what made Alaba have the time to take a shot and place it. Alaba, boom! The fourth goal, essentially what I said before. Alonso with a ball to Costa, who just waits until the right back reaches him. Then he passes it to Alaba, who's making a great run again. And Alaba then just simply finds Robin, who is in the box waiting and supposedly being marked by two players that essentially just let him go, which it doesn't matter what scoreline, that really shouldn't happen in a professional match. You shouldn't just if you're 2-on-1, you shouldn't just let one player go, but that's what happened for the fourth goal. Talking about goal number 5, there's not really much to say except it's a classic counter. Costa, his pace, it's frightening. We all know that by now, like every single one. If you don't know that by now, well, now you do know. But Costa, his pace is frightening, and he's also not being brought down, which you would kind of expect. But considering it's the last minute, you can also, considering it's the last minute and we were up 4-1 at that point, you can also see why Arsenal wouldn't bring us down, because they might be thinking about the next game and the game after that. In the Champions League, because obviously they'll be important games right now, so that could be a reason why Costa wasn't being brought down, or simply the case that he's too fast. But anyway, it was a great pass to Müller at the right time, perfectly weighted, and Müller with a fantastic and very clinical goal. Now, besides the good moment, there were obviously some bad moments as well. For starters, let's talk about the Arsenal handball goal that they scored. I mean, I think it's a clear handball. I think it clearly hits him on the arm, and therefore I do think it's a handball. If you think differently, tell me in the comment section down below. But for that goal, I do think Philipp Lahm is at fault, because he sees the runner, but he reacts too late, which someone like him should really happen. But you could just see that he's not been in great form lately. It started quite a while ago. It started when he started playing left back, I thought that he would look bad defensively in that match, and I thought today he didn't look that good defensively either. I thought offensively he looked great, but defensively he had a few shaky moments, which one of those, which that handball goal was of his fault in my opinion. Now, for Arsenal's actual goal, I thought that we had 4 players in the wrong there. Those 4 players being Lam, Alonso, Benatia, and Javi. All 4 of them, in my opinion, had a fault in them for that goal. Looking at Alexis Sanchez on the ball, Lam should have been much more aggressive there, and Alonso should have come much closer, in my opinion. I also think that Benatia should have been aware, that Giroud was behind him, that he should have been closer there. And I do think that Javi, his position, he was just too far from Giroud as well, who was the only threat in the box. So I think both Benatia and both Javi should have been closer to I think both Javi and both Benatia should have been closer to Giroud, and I do think that Lam and Alonso should have been closer to Alexis Sanchez so that he couldn't even cross the ball. Now, tell me what you think in the comment section down below. If you actually did enjoy this video. Now, if you did, I've been doing a few changes here and there. I really wanted to highlight Alaba and Thiago today, as well as Costa and Coleman, just because I thought they were excellent and they were the reason why we looked so good. So that's why I started highlighting them more than I did in previous tactical analysis and tactical breakdowns. But tell me what you guys think. Do you guys want to see more of kind of like me highlighting certain players, or do you just want to see the general players and then keep it shorter? But as always, people, if you did enjoy this video and you're new here, be sure to subscribe. I'm trying to make these a more regular thing, but they take quite a lot of time to do, so it's not always easy to do that, but I'll try and do that. But as always, people, rate, comment, and subscribe. This was me on Mir TV. As always, you can follow me on Twitter, and that's it. That's it. For now, that's it. But peace out and have a nice day. Bye.